my people. This is Bongi Kazamula. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been away for quite some time. I know I haven't been uploading. That's because I'm a student. I'm a psychology student with UNISA. I'm doing my honors. So it has been a struggle to juggle between being a mom and studying and writing my exams and also working at the same time doing my projects. So my apologies on that one. Please do subscribe, share with your friends, because some of the topics that I handle here, I see people asking questions on Facebook and other social media, so it can help somebody out there. Today, I want to talk about choosing between building a family home and building an investment property. That simply means building rooms or extending the home that you are staying with. This is inspired by Tobekile Lutuli, one of my friends and former colleagues. She tagged me on a platform where somebody was asking whether they should take the money that they have and invest it in building a family home for their children and their grandchildren. So I want to highlight on the advantages of building rooms, elokishini. I think I have touched on this topic before, but when somebody asks that type of question, it simply means that not a lot of us are learned in terms of how important or how rooms can perform in location and how they can be constructed in such a way that they accommodate a family and can also get you extra cash. So once you get yourself an architect so that he or she can check out your land, can check out how many rooms can you extend with, whether it will be possible for you to build a double story, the cost that you will incur when you are building a double story. The lady was more focused on the amount that she's gonna be using when she builds that double story, and based on the amount that she had, which was 300,000, it was too little to build a double story. It can be costly to build one. So the first thing would be for you to find an architect that is going to talk to you about the land that you have, that will have plans from previous, and see the kind of structure that you can be able to put in your yard. Number two, they will be able to tell you whether you gonna need underpinning of your house, because that can also put more pressure on your budget. So they will be able to look at the type of foundations that you're gonna need if you are putting rooms, or if you have decided otherwise to just build a family home. So once you get that person who is gonna draft those plans for you, who is gonna be able to tell you factual information based on what you have, then you can decide on whether to build rooms in such a way that they will be still used by your children and you can accommodate other people when you are no longer around. Because for me, the whole idea of living a big house, let me talk about having build a bigger house that was not gonna get me any income, and building a bigger house which were rooms for me to rent out. The one that was most costly was the one that I was building for the family. That house cost me, which was plus minus 8 years back, it cost me around 2 million to build it, and it was so costly. And when I look back now that I have started to invest in rental rooms, I think it was the most wasteful thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's like I put money in the drain, because when you're building for a family, you end up looking for expensive material. You're trying to make it look more glittery. You're trying to make it look more comfortable for you and the rest of the family. So The main advice that I have for the lady, I'm gonna put this link for this video on the platform where she asked the question. The main advice is not to build a home for your children, not necessarily meaning that don't leave a house for them. It would be best to build a place where if you are still alive, they can stay with you, your grandchildren can stay with you. But if you are no more and can no longer provide for them, they will be able to rent out some of the spaces for them to be able to survive. That's mostly what people have been saying on that platform is it was advisable for her to do rooms. So why rooms? For the main reason of getting to have an income for your children. Number two, when you when you leave, when you are no longer around, your children will have to pay municipality rates. From the things that we have seen people, families that can no longer pay family rates, I mean the municipality rates, they can no longer afford the electricity. You find that the municipality comes and shut down the electricity because the main breadwinner is no more. Hence, it is more advisable to say, why not build your children something tangible that they can use and teach them that you can use this house as a home. You can also use it to get you an income in the case where I can no longer be able to provide for you when I'm gone. I also have I got the idea that the lady did not get does not grasp the idea of tenants. I think she's had problems with looking around and seeing the ideology of having people staying in her yard. I mean, if you cannot do it while you are still here, probabilities are your children might not have a problem with staying with tenants, or they can even buy themselves houses, which for me, to teach your children that whatever that I leave you behind, you must be able, you must fight and work hard to such an extent that you multiple it. The ideology of parents saying, I'm gonna leave this to my children without the expectation that your kids need to also be able to double or multiply what you have been able to give them on while you're still alive is somehow a little bit disturbing in this day and age. I think it's the reason why we have got old people that they also work, they can do something with their life, they can try and make something out of themselves, but because their parents gave them the idea that the family home is yours, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to expand on what I've been able to give you as a parent. That also is a bit disturbing. Not saying that people mustn't leave homes, they mustn't leave a legacy to their children. There is better ways of leaving things for your children, instead of saying I want to build a double-story house for my kids and my grandchildren to be able to live in. There could be more to be explored by not you alone, by you and your children. Let me touch on what she was speaking about. She was talking about having 300,000 and getting maintenance for 10,000, and she wanted to know if that is substantiating money enough to build a double-story house. Building on its own is expensive, and the minute you start with an architect, it's out of control. I mean, the budget, you must know from day one, when you consult with an architect, they charge you, those people, they charge the last one I had, he charged me 28,000, I think, for drafting the plans and sending them to the municipality for approval. So before you can even start about thinking of building a house, a double-story house that is not gonna earn you any income, that's not gonna be profitable in any way to you. You must know that it is very costly to build on its own. It doesn't matter whether it's a double story, whether it's a single story house, or whether it's multiple stories. It is expensive to build. So imagine somebody who is saying, I am not willing to venture into building rooms that are gonna get me and my children an extra income. I just want to build, and the person doesn't have enough revenue. They don't have enough money in their coffers to be building. It's it just gives the ideology that my people are not properly educated when it comes to building. It gives me the vibes that the houses that I've seen elokishini that have not been finished were because people did not have enough information. I mean, when you do that, you're gonna have to also pay the builder. You have to, which when you're building a double story, I haven't found one lie around East Rand or Springs area that cost less than 150,000 for building a double story. And most of the time, if they are cheap, they'll tell you, I don't do roofing, I don't do this, I don't do that. And after that, you also have to find electricians, you have to find plumbers, you have to find, I mean, people who are going to paint. There is a lot that comes with building a house on its own, irrespective of whether it's a double story or it's not a double story. So from the lady saying that she had 300,000 that she won in her divorce, it gave me a little bit of jitters to know that she wants to take that money and put it in a house that's not gonna get them anything back. Let me tell you, the most expensive house that I've built is getting me less income because it was never meant to accommodate other people, never drafted in such a way that I can divide it to become single rooms. It was a home. So it's getting me around 10,000 rands, whereas a smaller house that I bought for 410 is getting me closer to that amount. The house, it's more beautiful, it has got more artifacts, it's glitter, it's glowing. I used expensive porcelain. It has got wardrobes, built-in wardrobes, and all these other things. But it cost me a lot. At the same time, it's getting me less income. So when you're thinking about building a house for your children, you must be thinking about if they no longer stay there when you are normal. Let's take you are normal and they make it and they are able to buy themselves homes and they are maybe marry if they are ladies and get to leave their houses. It must be easy for them to sell the property, or it must be easy for them to be able to use it for other things like rental. A house can become very, very expensive, let alone that the design of the house can be a problem in the near future when it comes to disposing of that house. Because when you think that your children, unless you put it on a will or you put it on you put the house on a trust that says that has got clauses that says you cannot dispose of this house, you cannot sell it, it's supposed to remain within the family. But the type of design of the house that you have, especially double stories elokishini, they don't sell for the value that they are at. It will be hard for your children to be able to work around that property when you have made it too big and the design does not suit for them to make business out of it. I want to emphasize on that. So when we we are growing up as youngsters in South Africa, we must be thinking about, when we leave these things to our children, what are they going to be able to do with them when we are no more? Are they going to be able to sell it if there is a need for them to sell it, or are they going to be able to rent it out if they are not there? And even if they are staying there, will they be able to give each other space? That's why I'm saying it's best to discuss this type of things with an architect and try to paint out what kind of plans you are looking for. And it is highly, for me right now, I think the best thing that any person can leave their children is a property that can make business. It's a property that can bring them money. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of our parents have never gotten the idea of leaving a legacy to us, leaving things to us in such a way that we can be able to survive long after they are gone. When you have a family home, I have a family yard in Limpopo that everybody wants. You know, and not that it's bad that everybody wants to go back to their roots. Not that it's bad that every child wants to inherit. Your children might be getting along now because you are there. When you are gone, could be problems. Underpinning of the old houses can turn that building budget to be out of control. The last rooms that I've been building now, that I've been trying to take you guys along, they had to underpin the house. It costed me a lot of money to do the underpinning, because you also need the what do you call, the engineers to also draw their own drawings to recommend the type of steel that you need to use when you are doing your foundations, because the foundation must be able to carry the second house on top, and the second house on top on its own, it also has got its own foundation, which is the slab. So building a double-story house is more costly compared to building a normal house. And when you are building this house, not only for to say this is for me a luxury, I've made it, I've got enough money in my life, I've made enough money, then I can just build to feel good about it. It is not advisable to build a double-story house. I've built one myself, and I'm saying to you today that that house, after I left, I cannot make enough money, enough cash from it that equals the value that it is at. So how I'm renting it out is at a loss in reality, compared to the other houses that I have costed me less, that are getting me more money out of they are getting me value for the money that I've put out there. So in terms of the cost of building, you need plus minus, if because the lady was talking about filling the stand auction. The stands auction around 280 and to 300 square meters, most of them in my location, unless it's a different location. But where I have got stands, it's plus minus there. So when you need to build around there, you'll find that you will need plus minus 2 million at the value of the rent today. So the whole ideology of today's video is to say, let's invest for our children in such a way that tomorrow they will be able to utilize the things that we leave behind for them. Let's build houses or homes that can accommodate us, but at the same time, if they need to be turned into a business, it won't be too complicated for our children. When we leave things behind, when we build, those who have got cash to build, think of your family's comfort, of course, now, and at the same time, design your house in such a way that it will be able to accommodate the children in a respectable peaceful manner, in a way that they won't have to fight if they are forced to stay there. And at the same time, if they have left the premises, they might be able to use it for something else. And the cost of building, do not start building just because you have got money, 300,000. That money will be finished before you even go anywhere with your building. I will discuss in my next video. I want to discuss how it is so hard to get financing from banks, because one of the questions that she had was, how do I get money from the banks if I'm getting support money, if I'm getting maintenance money of around 10,000. And even if you are somebody who is working, banks can make it hard for you to get money sometimes. It happened to me. Now I had to hold a bit in terms of finishing up my building. I had to half in terms of where do I want to finish first, and where will I do it later on. So I will touch on the processes of getting financing, but what I wanted to teach and to highlight is that don't get pressured by what your neighbors might be doing, and simply think that when you have got back rooms is one of the most bad things. You can design back rooms in such a way that they attach to the main house and they look gorgeous and beautiful, and you live there up until if you die, because the ideology of the question was she wanted to leave the house to her children and her grandchildren and her great grandchildren. But the thing can be done in a way that it doesn't have to cost her a lot, and it doesn't have to cause a burden to her and her children. So I hope that I am sensitizing my people enough to say that when we leave things for our children, let's leave them in such a way that it will not become a burden. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Tobe, for recognizing me and tagging me, my darling. That meant a lot for me. I'm gonna tag your name, and on Facebook I'll tag you along when I post this video. I'm so grateful to have sisters like you who do recognize the potential that I have. When I try to put my ideas and the things that I've learned out there, it's not always easy. It's a bit complicated, but when someone recognizes what I'm doing, oh, that's the best payment ever, my darling. I'm so thankful. I love you. Mwah.